Hey, what's going on, guys? Today I'll be talking about 5 teams who could potentially either trade up or down in the first round of the NFL draft. This on another episode of... So the first team I want to talk about today is the Denver Broncos. Now the Denver Broncos, I think they could potentially trade up if they want Ashton Jeanty of Boise State. Now, the reason I think they might want to trade up is their biggest need is running back, and if they want him versus one of the other running backs in this draft class, trading up is going to be necessary because there are plenty of teams ahead of him who could want Jeanty and might draft him before the Broncos even get a chance. Now, how far up they need to trade up to pick Ashton Jeanty is a question mark, because I think the earliest team that could want him is the Las Vegas Raiders, but realistically, if the Broncos are willing to swing a bunch of resources into moving up, they could even get ahead of the Raiders. The next team I want to talk about is the Carolina Panthers. Now, where the Broncos wanted to trade up, I think the Carolina Panthers might want to trade down. The Panthers don't necessarily have a big must-have need this offseason, and by trading back, they could accumulate more draft picks, especially from teams that might want to move up to select a position of extreme need, for instance, quarterback or otherwise. That might be gone by the time teams later in this draft would be able to take a pick. I think the Carolina Panthers would be smart to do this because then they get more draft picks, be able to get more pieces for Bryce Young and that team. But it's not a guarantee. I think it's likely. It's not necessarily guaranteed that the Panthers do this, mostly because they might have someone they really like there in the first round. The next team I want to talk about is the Los Angeles Rams. Now, the Rams, I think, could potentially either trade up or back. The Rams, if they have someone they really want, could take a swing and trade up. They've done this before. It's not outside the realm of possibilities. But they also could trade back if people they want to draft with a first round pick don't reach them. And with that being said, another reason for the Rams to potentially trade back is because they don't have a second round pick, and by trading back they could accumulate more draft picks later in the draft to supplement not having their second round pick. The next team I want to talk about is the New Orleans Saints. Now the Saints, they could potentially trade up because with the Derek Carr injury, getting a quarterback is a big need. And depending on how they think the other teams will draft, if they don't see the ability to get a quarterback at some point early in this draft, for instance, if there's a run on quarterbacks early on, they could trade up to get their guy, whoever that may be. And the reason being is because if Derek Carr is indeed out for the entire season, the Saints will need a quarterback. And if they don't get one in this draft, or at least a good, potentially competent one in this draft, 2025 might as well just be a off year for them because they will not be competitive. And the last team I want to talk about is the Pittsburgh Steelers. Now, the Pittsburgh Steelers, sort of similar to the Saints, I feel like are going to trade up because the Steelers need a quarterback, and Aaron Rodgers has continued to be elusive, and it's unfortunate for the Steelers that they're still at this point in the offseason looking for a quarterback. Skylar Thompson and Mason Rudolph are the only quarterbacks on their roster, and I don't think many people think that it's going to cut it. So the Steelers, if Rodgers does not come around by the time the draft occurs, will need to take a swing. And if they don't think a quarterback they will like is available where they are, they'll have to go up. Now, how much they're willing to give up to go up, that's anyone's guess, but it's possible. And the Steelers would likely need to trade up to get one of the higher tier quarterbacks in this draft class. And this draft class doesn't have very many high tier quarterbacks, so that's where it stands. With that being said, guys, please like, share, subscribe, and comment down below, and I'll see you next time.